NetSuite has released a new AI connector, and that's going to allow you to connect your NetSuite data directly to external AI services. So right now, this only works with Claude, a model called Claude, but NetSuite is using something called Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which is basically just a universal language for talking to AI services. And the intention here is to shortly be able to connect to all major services, anything that supports MCP. And what that's going to do is expose a bunch of different tools to an external AI. So when you ask questions or put in requests on Claude or ChatGPT or whatever it is, it can access all these tools in your NetSuite environment to pull data and even write data back. So not everyone's comfortable sharing their NetSuite data with external AI services, obviously. So it's going to be up to different companies to set their policies on this, navigate the compliance of it, understand what permission controls they want to use. And that's why at Nexa, we're also building really extensively using the on-platform tools and building out a studio that sits internally within the NetSuite interface. And we'll have more out on that soon that we can share. But I would stress that with the connector, users will only have access that they would have in the UI. So the tools that are provided out of the box from NetSuite are mainly different ways to pull data, where there's some limited write back to be able to say make and update customer records. But NetSuite has fully opened this up. So customers and partners can write their own tools with very few limits. Basically, almost anything you can do with scripting, you can now do with a custom AI tool. So we're already building new prototype tools internally and testing these out. And the connector itself is available right now. So I am going to show you a quick demo example of Claude with NetSuite data and the NetSuite AI connector. I'm just going to share my screen here, and we will have a look at Claude together. So NetSuite is authenticating this through my login role. I can't use an administrator login for security reasons, as you can imagine. So I can only access or manipulate data that I have permissions for. And you can control on the NetSuite side what tools the service is allowed to access. So for example, if you want to block users from creating customers through AI, you would just not switch on the tool that creates customers. So this is Claude. When I type something into Claude, it can pull information from lots of different places. And because I've set this connector up and connected it to a demo account, one of the places it can pull data from is my NetSuite account. So if I click on NetSuite here, you can see all the tools I have switched on. So these are all the different ways that Claude can interact with my NetSuite data. And I might have tools that can, for example, get item data or that can update a customer record. And when I ask Claude something, it's going to autonomously decide which of these tools it could use to develop an answer for me. And when I look at my other connectors here, I can connect this to my calendar, or there's a big library of pre-built connectors to apps, so I can start instantly combining data and writing back to those different services. So you can imagine some of the really interesting kind of future use cases of this could be where people are really combining data of these different systems and automating the workflow and the analysis between them, right? So maybe I ask Claude to go find my five most profitable customers from NetSuite and then book calls in my calendar for the rest of the week to them. Or maybe I want to do a comparison of my item costs in NetSuite with market data and show me some insights on a visual dashboard. And because Claude is built using React.js framework, it means you can do things like actually build interactive screens and little apps like drag and drop boards and use your data from NetSuite to feed those. So just as a couple of brief examples, if I look at one here, I have iPad purchase order costs analysis. So I have typed into Claude, compare my costs on my purchase orders for iPads against wholesale market rates for iPads. And Claude has gone and used a couple of my inbuilt tools to go run queries on the NetSuite side and do some analysis on my costs for iPads. And then it's gone and done a bunch of of searches to go find wholesale market rates and market information about iPads as well. And then it's able to spit me out something that looks kind of like this, where it gives me some insights into that. So some visual summaries of my iPad information, but then my analysis here, where it's telling me, okay, your pricing is 20 to 40% higher above wholesale rates. Some of your iPad models are old and we'd consider replacing those. Maybe your volume is not high enough and you should be looking at renegotiating your supplier terms and setting up more supplier contracts, for argument's sake. Or if I look at an example that's maybe a bit more visual, let's say I have asked Claude here for make a dashboard of my manufacturing performance using my work order completion and operations data and compare that against some industry standards and benchmarks. So again, Claude's gone and used queries to pull the NetSuite data that I've asked it for. And then it's gone and run some different searches online to compare that. And then using this JS framework, it's actually able to build these visual reports, visual dashboards, so I can see things like completion rate and production trends in visual ways. And then it's giving me some insights at the bottom to say, hey, your completion rate is below standard, your cycle time is heavy, your food products are actually really good, so maybe try doing some of the stuff that you're doing with food on your other products. So just as a couple of simple examples there, just a hint really of the capability of these tools in this framework. So please reach out to us if you want to discuss that more and if you want to know more there.